Gentleman yields back. The gentlewoman from New Mexico, Ms. Leger Fernandez, is recognized for 5 minutes.
Good morning, Chairman, and good morning, committee. I completely agree on the importance of making sure that we get broadband in rural America. I was elected in 2020, and we talked a whole bunch back then about how important it was to make sure that we connected everyone, regardless of your zip code, precisely for the reasons that Representative Stauber just talked about, and Representative Fulcher. I completely agree with the intent of needing to move forward on broadband. That's why I am really pleased with the work that we have done with regards to actually making it happen. I am a co-chair of the Rural Broadband Task Force because we need to make sure that the money that we passed as part of the bipartisan infrastructure law, which was $65 billion to make sure we get internet to everybody, wherever it may be, precisely for the regions set out by Representative Stauber. So our rural health clinics, so our students don't have to drive to the nearest library and park outside. All of those reasons are really important. We were just in New Mexico about 3 weeks ago, where we were talking about the $675 million for broadband that New Mexico will be receiving because we are such a rural state and there is such great need, especially our cities and towns and villages and home sites and ranches and farmers are spread out. So sometimes we have to invest quite a bit. We once invested, I was at an announcement where we were doing several $1 million, and we could count the ranches and farms, and we could count, there were 2 schools. And somebody came up to me, one of the journalists, and said, is that a wise investment of federal dollars to put that much money in when you're just, investing in these number of schools and these number of ranchers and farmers? And I said, absolutely, because it is just like electrification. It needs to go everywhere. It is part of our infrastructure. So I'm very proud of that work we've done. I'm very proud of the $42.5 billion that will be going in the BEAD program, which is making sure that we get equity and access to everybody. The issue that I have a concern about is that there is a section in this bill which requires that tribes respond within 45 days as to whether there are any cultural or historic sites that may be impacted. The reality is that our tribal historic preservation officers, they don't have the resources they need to be able to do that work in that amount of time. And I don't think it is right that we deprive our TIPOs of the resources they need, but then say, you must respond in 45 days. And if you don't, it really doesn't matter whether we end up unintentionally digging up sites that you might need, burial sites, historic archaeological sites. So that is a major concern I have with this bill. We had a hearing about this last session, and Chairman Reno Franklin, who was both a tribal leader and a tribal historic preservation officer, told us, I quote, cultural resources are being lost and landscapes are being destroyed because TIPOs do not have the ability to effectively consult on the impact that projects with a federal nexus have on their communities and ancestral homelands. In 2021, one TIPO with 3 employees received 3,400 consultation requests. That translates into 13 consultation requests for every workday all year for these 3 TIPO staff. So these numbers actually predated the wonderful investments we've done with the bipartisan infrastructure law and the Inflation Reduction Act. So that is a concern I have with this bill, and I think that there are ways in which we can address that. I have legislation in as we look at reauthorizing the Historic Preservation Act and providing them the resources that they need so we can have that quick, streamlined approval process. We need to get these fibers in the ground. We need to get our wastewater pipelines in the ground. We need to get all that done, but we need to be able to have the resources to those places so they can make sure that we do not destroy that which is sacred, that which is culture, which cannot be destroyed. And so I believe we need to provide them those resources, and I look forward to working with members of the committee to get that done. And with that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.
Ladies, time has expired. Is there further discussion on the bill?